Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast.
We discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as gynecoplasty and red leather, yellow leather. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, once again, we've fallen behind schedule. We have not done our due diligence. Dr. London, I don't know if you know this, but the Super Bowl is it's Sunday, like this Sunday. And
they do it on Sundays now?
They're doing it on Sundays, and we haven't submitted a team at all.
Okay.
So if we want to even just be a little eligible for the Super Bowl, we've got to at least put a team together, and we haven't done that. So I hate to do this on air, but we got to get some business done first.
Yeah.
No, we got to draft our football team for the Super Bowl.
It's like waiting until like 4:30 p.m. for the post office. Like, I wish I could do something else, but like right now is the time, Right.
It's filing your taxes on, April 9th or whatever.
Yeah, or September even. Yeah.
Yeah, or later. But Dr. London, I'm thinking this would be a good opportunity to kind of draft some of our favorites and build a really solid team that actually can compete this year. Because in previous years, our teams haven't even been accepted into the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but I really think this is going to be the year.
I think as a general rule for this one, just based on what we've failed at in the past, we should make sure that all of our entries are like solid, organic, real, like either people or creatures. Like I think they should be tangible.
Okay.
I feel like we had a lot of ephemeral ideas in the past.
Right, or like mists.
Yeah, a lot like gaseous. I don't know.
Or like essential oils.
Yeah, a lot of oil, just a lot of oil. We said, because last year's entry was just oil, right?
That's what we had a lot of excess of. So probably everything we were doing was oil related. But Dr. Linda, I'll start then with an actual human being. Someone who I think is going to be the best person for the team. I'm thinking we gotta start with quarterback. And a quarterback they're not just throwing the football. They are leading the team. They're the face of the franchise. And you want someone who's going to be fully committed, fully professional, and fully go full method. And so I think it has to be Jared Leto.
Yep.
Because that he's going to commit so hard because he's a method actor that he is going to, live the life of the quarterback for our team. And that's the kind of professionalism you want.
Listeners will know, because we covered Jared Leto a lot in here, the amount of sort of domestic unsettled nature that he brings to a team is what a lot of the professional teams already have. There's a lot of domestic abuse issues, and so we want to bring on someone who has experience in all the areas. Like, we're not just talking on the field, We want to have someone who brings this home.
Yeah, they have a crisis PR team with them at all times that you can use for the rest of the team. I'm also thinking he'll do funny pranks like he did to the Suicide Squad guys, like little like dead rats in their bags or whatever.
Just so silly with how method he is.
But I mean, he has a cult. Like, he has an actual cult, so he can lead people and actually get everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
As long as they're sort of like kind of worshiping him.
Yeah, which they will. But it will happen if the whole team pulls it together. He just has to be good enough. But yeah, I'll say for the next one. So we want to serve it up like a platter, like a dish. And so I'm thinking, let's get one of those like plate dishwashing mascots. Let's get one of those on the actual team. So he comes out, like he'll look like a plate.
This is the clean plate after the like soap has been used?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to deliver the metaphor, but we gotta have the plate go out there.
Or do you want like a little scrubby thing with eyes on it? Because that's pretty common.
Okay. Well, I guess I really like the plate idea, but yours makes more sense. If that makes sense.
I think it's a combo, right? It's usually the little scrubby thing with eyes and maybe like a smile scrubbing away at a plate, and it's got light dinging off of it, and it's like shining almost like a diamond.
Wait, you're making it sound like this has been done.
Am I wrong?
No, it just sounds like I thought this was the first time anyone's thought of it, of cleaning a dish for their quarterback team.
I just have a vivid imagination.
Okay. Yeah, because
so if you've thought of anything, I've already thought of it.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Then I guess, yeah, we'll have a scrubby one, but I like, just because you really seem to know exactly what I'm already describing, let's also have like a knife that is dripping blood because you accidentally cut yourself while cooking. And let's have that also on the field with our team for the Super Bowl.
Okay, but this is an interesting conundrum, because I doubt they would let you bring in a knife to whatever arena it's at, whatever stadium. But if you are a knife, that's a little different, right?
I think so. Because
that would be,
it's like telling
this
Wolverine
is like a classic
no.
Air Bud.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think we're safe there. I think we should also draft the BFG, like the Big Friendly Giant from the Steven Spielberg animated movie. I think so. I know it's a little controversial because he's slow. He's slow, but he's also a giant, so no one can really tackle him unless the other team has the Iron Giant or something like that. And he only needs to take like 3 steps.
Well, I guess this is something to look at. If we want to moneyball this, has anyone else recruited the Iron Giant to their team? Because like if we get the BFG and then someone else gets the Iron Giant, then it's like, okay, I guess we just
I don't even know how to get in contact with the Iron Giant. Yeah. Isn't he like a right-wing influencer now?
Yeah, no, he and I okay, and this is kind of a weird thing to confess. He and I experimented a little bit in college. And I'm sorry, I feel like we are going way off the tracks here, the Iron Giant and I. But like we had a little thing back in college, and so I do have contact info to reach out, but I do not want to have that conversation. You know what I mean?
You experimented with like the off-brand Monopoly knockoffs. You know, when it'll be like, it's not officially commissioned by Monopoly, but it'll be like the Texas State Fair Monopoly.
Yeah. And so I did
and this is what you guys were experimenting with back in college.
Yeah, just like we were like, what if we tried one of these things like that's not even sanctioned by Hasbro or whatever?
Yeah.
And
it's like The Office, Monopolo. It's spelled a little differently, but it's...
Yeah. So Iron Giant and I had a really, I guess just intensely... a stressful game of Monopoly. Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't want to make a call because I still owe money within the game.
Oh, that you're in debt and
in Monopoly money. Yeah.
We're like business partners, and I wish you would have told me when I asked you, "Are you in debt?" You said, "Yeah, but only like cash and gold." I was like, "Okay, that's fine."
Yeah.
But to hear that you have Monopoly debts out there that are unpaid is a little... No, I'm stressed. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating.
And I guess I should have also told you I've invested heavily in crypto as well, but not like good crypto. It's the one that like got insanely destroyed by China. So, I say that because I know it's bound for a rebound. So. It's going to come back.
Well,
around.
That's why I've gone all in on like the Hawk Tua. I mean, I think I've just been sending her checks in the mail. I assume that's the crypto.
I've just been winking to cameras a lot and assuming that they kind of get what I'm talking about.
That seems to work. I want to draft one more person, Dr. London, and I want to consider, and this is, you do have to separate the art from the artist. The art in this in this case being football and the artist being the player on our team. So let's think about someone who's a very tall man, a very strong man, and who is still very much alive despite what people say. Osama bin Laden.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's put aside the politics. The planes, I want to fly a plane, or you fly a plane. Like the politics of it all.
People, we are so divided.
Culture. Let's think about an actual athletic guy here who could be a good cornerback or fullback or any of the positions.
I just let's reach across the political aisle for a second.
Camelback.
And actually recognize someone who actually had some ideas and they led a lot of people. We need these kind of people on our
Well, and maybe if he was busy coming up with plays, he would be a little too busy to get into trouble.
Yeah. So
a lot of these kids, they just need something to do after school.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I so wish someone had thought of that for Osama bin Laden, because he's so funny. He's such a crazy little tyke, I would assume. Oh
yeah, I've never met him. I mean,
yeah. Well, he and I kind of experimented in college a little bit. But
oh gosh, you really got around with these Monopoly games, Monopolo games, Monopono.
Yeah. Well, so that's. And the Super Bowl is, we have 6 days left to get these team members together. Is that right?
Well, I think we already did, right? We just drafted them. And
I guess we're good.
Just shoot an email out. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's reply all. Let's use a reply all to get this out there.
Okay. As the initial email.
That's right. Well, because it reaches everyone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's smart thinking.
So we'll reply all for that. So that's our producer Cameron, and also with us says, "Did you know in the house?" And later we are going to unpack some relationship advice, because the Super Bowl isn't the only big event, and another way to introduce Valentine's Day stuff.
Yeah, there's love stuff coming up.
Yeah, but before we move on, I would.
And that's not a euphemism. Love stuff coming up. That's not a euphemism for anything.
I guess. I'm
just oozing with love stuff. And it's sort of kind of
okay.
I'm throwing it up in a sense.
Yeah, I guess I've seen the love stuff that you. And no, I do think we should hold back on what you're dispersing. Before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback, though. For a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of DNRs, that is, do not resuscitators, and they're either really loud or really quiet. These folks, a lot of times. But in our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So this week's feedback comes from, this is from TikTok, a comment in response to, "Yo, bro, long time watcher, first time commenter, you good, bro?" At that one Venusaur from Pokemon said, quote, "Well, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you, bro. Praying hands emoji," end quote. So thank you so much for that feedback. I'm realizing now, maybe I shouldn't have said that aloud. So the whole being proud of us thing, in the confusion of the LA wildfires, Cameron was trying to adopt some animals from the shelter, and he did adopt a lion on accident. It was labeled as a hamster. And my guess, the most logical answer for what this listener was talking about, is the pride of lions that Cameron's trying to get together.
Oh, right. The listener, when they said they're proud of you, we're probably referring to the lions that I had adopted, and that one kicked over a lantern or something in a barn.
Yeah. Well, just first of all, I want to say, sure, I'm proud of you in only the most literal sense of you did manage to corral a lot of exotic animals together. But I don't know if
you can human centipede anything to anything else.
Yeah, and that's what
You can human centipede a cat or a lion. You can human centipede a dog to sort of a small rat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So some people are trying to unlock the mysteries of, say, like how starfish can grow limbs back. And Cameron saw a centipede and was like, anything could do that. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't take some crazy scientist. You can just attach stuff. And so it's been pretty frustrating, the amount of animals that have gone into your workshop and then sort of waddled out.
As a new creature, as a new being.
Yeah. They just seem
You want to
uncomfortable.
force evolution to happen in certain creatures. I'm just making them happen.
Yeah.
Like, why spend time breeding things when you can just go out and do it?
No, and I
This
appreciate
lion is human centipeded to this duck, that's the one that kind of started the fire and everything.
And also the fact that the human centipeding is done with, it's just masking tape, right? Like, you just taped it on there?
So I ran out of tape, immediately. Like, you have to use a lot because masking tape's not super strong. So I've just been kind of mushing them together.
Right. And you keep calling this a human centipede when it seems, from the outside in, it looks like it's just you smashing animals together, and that's really all of it.
Yeah, Dr. Lennon, that's pretty much it. Just like, Einstein was just writing scribbles on a chalkboard.
Okay. Yeah,
But thank you for being proud of us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's what this was all about, and that made sense.
For another one, this is a comment in response to, me and my entire friend group love you so much. At Terrifying Testicles said, quote, wow, do I have to give them my bank information now? End quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. This one comes up a lot, this question. Don't give your bank information out. The guy at the bank is asking for that to trick you. Okay?
Yeah, and I would say as a listener to this show, or even just a viewer, if you're watching this on TikTok or whatever, we are going to be hounding you for your bank information. And so do not fall for our phishing schemes. This is really the only way to keep us accountable.
Yeah.
Is that I am going to be sort of calling you up and saying like, hey, I know how to access your webcam. I recorded some things. I want such and such bank information or however much in crypto sent to this wallet, et cetera, et cetera.
And it will be that vague. Like, we're going to try to make demands, but like we're kind of improvising it the whole time.
Well, and so I'm sending this to like 20 people at once. I can't get like super specific. And I don't know how to do any of those things either.
Yeah. No, I've noticed it really has gotten into your... Because you have a really good job, pays so much, but like you spend so much time on this as a hobby that I don't know. I feel like maybe...
underwater. I have lost so much money just trying to maintain the script, the automated script that sends out this email that is kind of just begging for Bitcoin.
Yeah. But
under the guise of blackmail, just as saying like, "Hey, I recorded you. You watch, you watched Bluey, but like in a gross sexual way. I'm gonna send this to 10 of your friends or whatever."
And now all the listeners are saying, "Wait, I do remember that email, the Bluey threats." And once Cameron figures out how to do anything more than what he's already done, by golly.
Well, and after I pay off the people I have to pay off, because again, I'm in so much debt because this script is killing me. This shell script is completely ruining my life.
Hope that answered your question, listener, and I hope that was very important. And now for today's medical topic, hyperkalemia. So hyper means more than or greater, and kalemia refers to the amount of potassium in the blood, just like Ka on the periodic table for potassium. Hyperkalemia is the state of having higher than normal potassium levels in the bloodstream. Hyperkalemia can result from a decreased excretion of potassium, and that can happen because of medications or maladies that affect aldosterone in the body. The release of potassium from tissues in the bloodstream is another way you could become hyperkalemic. So the idea is there's so much potassium in the cells, and the bloodstream is outside of the cells. So most of the times if you become hyperkalemic, it's going to be from a release of whatever's inside those cells.
This all sounds really, it's probably right just because you know a little bit more about the doctor stuff than I do. But when me and my wife's kids are super, super hyper, like we usually just put them on a leash and then just find whatever toxins are around that will knock them out. So it's like we're in the kitchen. The closest thing's going to be, I don't know, some like bleach and maybe like Drano. You mix that in a bucket and you put that to their nose. They're like 4 or 5 or whatever. So they're just inhaling that stuff. Then they pass out, and then because they're too hyper. And it seems like that's a way easier solution than, I don't know, going to medical school and injecting mRNA, DNA changers into your body or whatever you're suggesting.
I do feel like you didn't. So I hadn't even gotten to the treatment yet. So I was just listing how this pathology works.
It's impossible to know what you're talking about because, have you looked at the back of a bag of potato chips? All these words that don't even make any sense. Hypoglyceride. These are the same words you throw into your medical lessons to confuse honest Americans who just want the straight facts.
Okay, yeah, I knew this was going to be a political thing. So Cameron's pretty sour because he did try to run for office, but he really got confused on where exactly to run physically if you're going to do that. And people are saying oh, what went wrong with this election? And it was that Cameron just didn't think to look it up online how to run. So
and I ran a quarter mile day of.
Yeah, I guess if you want to you were pretty underwater, physically you were wearing gaiters and you were in a river. So I think for you it felt like you were going that far.
Oh, okay. And I was mostly just running in place. Okay.
Yeah, and
that does make a little sense. I was thinking, because the river was moving, so I thought it was sort of like an optical illusion that everything looked like it was standing still. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, if I remember right, and sorry to go so far into this, but from what I remember, I dropped you off with your floaties, and you were gonna. I think at first it was all about catching the snake, or just tadpoles, whatever you could find. And then I left for a few hours, came back, and you were downstream and telling me about all the monsters in the creek.
Yeah, when I say I'm running for office, I'm going all out. Tadpoles, guppies, whatever monsters,
Yeah. Campaigning door to door. Whichever door's on the river.
Yeah.
So, the release of potassium from tissues in the bloodstream has several causes. It can be from tissue destruction, like rhabdomyolysis, which is basically smashing muscles. So the cells, the intracellular stuff, including potassium, can leak out. That causes hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia can be caused by decreased insulin, because insulin normally drives potassium into cells. Acidosis can make cells pick up more hydrogen ions, which is acid, and release potassium in exchange. Because you have this whole sort of dynamic happening. Just keep this whole balance. Homeostasis, that's the term. Homeostasis within the cells with potassium. You also have beta blockers and digoxin that can inhibit the sodium-potassium ATPase that normally brings potassium into the cells. You have heparin that increases potassium levels, presumably through increased tissue release. So 90% of the potassium in the body is intracellular. So it's not just a matter of introducing new potassium into the body. It can also be shifting potassium out of cells that can cause the hyperkalemia. But unlike sodium imbalances, which we talked about before, potassium disorders interfere with muscle contraction and cardiac conduction. So these patients will present with weakness, paralysis, when severe, ileus, that's paralyzed gut muscles, and cardiac rhythm disorders. So the most urgent test in hyperkalemia, besides a potassium level, is an EKG. Because, once again, this is heart contraction problems, skeletal contraction problems. So it'll show peaked T waves, a wide QRS, and a PR interval prolongation. That's QRS on the EKG is the boop. It's that thing. QR to go up, and then S to go down.
And that noise is the kind of thing my kids do when they're super hyper. And everything you said makes sense. Like, I totally get where you're coming from with all the stuff you just said. But I still think when your kid's just like crazy hyper, just throw them in the dryer for a bit or something. You don't turn it on.
So hold on. The two solutions you presented thus far for a kid being hyper are, if you're in the kitchen, mix some chemicals together, put it under their nose.
Yeah, well, unleash them. I did say leash them.
Leash. You're right. You made a point to say that. And then, so that's solution number one. And then solution number two is toss them in the dryer. Don't turn it on.
Well, no, you're not turning it on.
But do toss them in there. Yeah, okay.
You do toss them in there. It depends on, again, what room of the house you're in. If you're in the laundry room, use what you got. Okay. That's what all I'm saying. You're saying go to a doctor and test this and inject this needle.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm saying, like, why not just use home remedies?
Okay, so in life-threatening hyperkalemia, that's the ones with an abnormal EKG, so their heart is being affected. You want to give the following. You can have calcium chloride or calcium
These are
gluconate.
the hyper kids you're talking about?
These are the hyperkalemic, yeah. The ones with the high potassium.
Yeah, and they're running around going beep, beep, beep.
They might. It does make muscles contract differently. So insulin and glucose will drive the potassium back into cells, and bicarbonates to drive potassium into cells, which is more important when acidosis causes hyperkalemia. Sodium polystyrene sulfonate or thiaxylate, that binds potassium in the gut and removes it from the body. And then other methods to lower potassium are through inhaled beta agonists like albuterol, loop diuretics, dialysis, and an oral potassium binder like patiromer or zirconium. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and it helped with the childcare needs as well. Yeah,
no, it's just that I think from a medical perspective, the stuff you were saying about the hyper kids, it does make sense. But just from a more practical, this is why we work great as a team. We can offer both sides of the situation.
Yes, but we do have an important thing to get to here. As we know, Valentine's Day is next week, and we gotta prepare this time. And I found, as I've gotten older, I found that there are different ways to approach the wooing of a woman. And one way is to acquire a $20 bill.
That's right, Dr. London. This is one thing we really want to teach the listeners of this podcast, the bots. Women are in it for the cash. They see that sort of sweet cash. They see some of those Lincolns. Yeah. Just a stack of Lincolns. They're kind of putty in your hands.
Yeah.
And so...
And that's not misogynist to say. That's just facts, okay?
These are just facts, and these are just sort of red pill things that kind of alphas like Dr. London and I know a lot about and teach a lot about. We do these sort of retreats where, I mean, no one's... They're retreats, right? It's like about manliness. It's about teaching like alphaness, and it's about teaching sort of like red pill lifestyle and stuff like that. That no one's come to the retreat.
No one's made it there. Yeah.
We usually get lost in completely opposite sides of the wilderness.
Yeah.
And
so I guess just to clarify there, no one's made it, us included. So like I don't want to say
I don't know where the hell it is. Like I don't even know where to start.
Like I know it's not a popularity issue, I don't think. I think it is a user error that everyone is making.
Well, we made a big thing about, like, if you're a real man, if you're an alpha, then you can use intuition to guide you. But I really should have maybe looked at a map or whatever first. All this to say, this is the kind of stuff we teach on our retreats. But yeah, it's that women, they do want your cash and they want your Lincolns. And so if you can get a 20 like Dr. London's talking about, your crush will not spit in your food anymore. I can promise you that.
And it's hard to prove a negative like that though. Here's what I can. So your crush won't whenever they try to hurt you, it'll be emotionally instead of physically. That's the more likely thing now. If you have $20 bill, and now this will bring up the question, of course, where do you get a $20 bill? We've been trying to figure this out for a while, and I think we've almost found it.
We've been casing this bank for a few months now, sort of figuring out like the security guard schedules, when the trucks come by, the kind of people who go in. Some people, they go in and they don't come out until at the end of the day. Those are the employees there. They go in like 9 and then leave at 5.
Okay. Because I was casing all these people, and I was casing all the employees as they went home, and I was casing them at their house, and I was casing them for lunch, and then casing them we went out for drinks the other night. Super fun guys. And
I think they just think we're friends. I think we are friends. I think that's kind of the best way to say it.
Well, I was casing them though. So
I've been casing
the whole
them.
Time.
Went to one of their weddings last weekend, which was pretty cool. Cased the wedding.
Jeff and Allie?
Gorgeous ceremony.
See, I talked to their parents there, and just like the way there are all these little mannerisms that I didn't even kind of pick up on when we first met, but I'm like, okay. And they're saying like, oh, he doesn't do that anymore. And I'm like, I didn't even notice that he would like put his fingers in the drink as he's serving it to you.
I did know all that stuff though, because I'm good at casing. And so when I've been casing these people's weddings and lives and social lives and sort of the gatherings that we do together, I already observed all this stuff. So this kind of goes back to me having sort of an unstoppable imagination. Anything you've thought, again, I thought of that when I was 7.
Yeah.
And that was the 90s.
Yeah, well, I'll say like you also forgot a lot when you were 7.
Buddy, I have forgotten more than I've ever learned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because like you will brag this way. You'll say like, I've thought of that when I was 7, but like at 8 years old is when you had that horribly traumatic brain injury that effectively erased a lot of your memories. And so, like,
the repeating head injury that happens in my annual car wreck.
Yeah, I guess you were just so successful at 8 years old that I guess the point I'm making here is that anytime you brag about how you used to know this stuff, you don't know it now, I guess is the issue I have. That makes sense.
Yeah, but why would I even care? That's just something dumb I thought of when I was like 7. So I would say something like that.
Okay. I guess I haven't followed as well. But in any case, $20. One of the things sorry. So we've been casing this place for a while, and what I've learned is that the workers at this bank, they'll get in trouble if the money's stolen. So that's something I didn't anticipate as an issue going into it.
Well, I've thought about a new angle, Dr. London, which is using sort of the art of seduction, the art of manipulation, and then asking these new friends of ours if I could borrow $20.
Okay.
It's risky. It's risky as hell, bro. But this is sort of the things I would be teaching at our alpha classes if we could figure out where to go. Is you got to take risks.
So I get that, like, I've seen you kind of float this idea by whenever we hang. Well, earlier today when we all had breakfast together, and you had said like, "Hey, can I borrow $20? I've got this system to pay you back," and it was a very elaborate system. And I'm just wondering, is there some trick in there? Because you were like, "Oh, with interest, you'll actually be making a lot of money off me." You keep saying that. But then you also keep turning to the side and being like, suckers. Oh, they're so stupid. To our bank friends.
Yeah, but that's okay. If I'm saying sucker, they're so stupid, it's because they don't know that we're casing them at that point. I'm turning to you because you're the only one who knows our secret. When we're having breakfast with them, or actually we're going over playing Scrabble with Marcy and Evan tonight.
Yeah.
So when we do that, we got to bring chips. Whatever. I'll see you there.
Yeah. We're recording from their studio, by the way. That's today. They were super nice. They have this like really nice studio that we're recording in. And we're casing the studio as well since we're here. Well,
it's so great. I did say we're gonna go over to their house after this.
Yeah. Well, it's their studio,
but it's nice that it's right next to their studio, so it's actually kind of convenient.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dr. London. So let's just hypothetically for our listeners, you've got $20, right? You've acquired the $20. So now, in your love experience, how do you use that $20 to win over your crush?
Let's review some of the ways first to not do it. Okay. Just based on our past experience. I have found that if you hold out the $20 just kind of confused, then they don't always know what you mean.
This is classic. You know, you think you're giving out a signal and the other person doesn't even pick up on it. Yeah. And it's just people miss each other like that. It's a lack of communication. So when you just kind of hold cash out and you kind of wave it in someone's face.
They usually you're going to want to articulate some idea, right? Is that what I'm missing?
It seemed like most of the time when you've tried this, the person just takes the money.
Right. Okay, I've noticed. Now to think back, yes, I've noticed a similar pattern.
Because this is your crush. This is someone you know. And so you're just walking up to them silently and shoving $20 in their face. And they're like, okay. And they just kind of take it and move on.
And sometimes they've returned it. And I've like become very visibly stressed and confused. But once again, I don't really articulate with words what's going on for me. What I meant whenever I handed over the $20. So one of the things you're going to want to do, I would think, hypothetically, instead of drooling a little bit while you hold out a $20, is to say something like, I got this for you, for your mom. And then leave it at that. Because then that starts a conversation. Either, is their mom okay? Or did you just make something up about their mom?
Yeah. Now, is this what not to do? You started this saying these are the things to not do.
This is me making an assumption based on what didn't work before, what I assume you have to do instead.
Now, okay. Yeah, let's talk about their mom a lot more. Okay, that is making a lot of sense.
Yeah, or say that the money's for your mom. Because then that will bring up a lot of questions, and that's what we call an icebreaker. Okay? So...
now, Dr. Lennon, would you recommend suggesting that you were just over at their mom's house? Like, I meant to give this to your mom. I was just with her, and I totally meant to give this to her.
Yes, that I'll say that, or you want to say, I was just at your mom's house. Give a really heavy sigh.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe
something
even say,
happened.
like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And then you wave the $20 in their face.
Yeah. But here's for your mom's And then don't you try to use possessives like this is for your mom's, but then never say the noun, like never say what it's for.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's too horrific
want that conversation.
To say, you don't want to bring it up. You just kind of want to be like,
Yeah, well, you know what and so that's just one thing you can do with a $20 bill. Can we say, like, we spent all this time talking about the one way? Can you imagine? And if we find out another way, I don't know, Cameron, do you have another suggestion for what you do to get your crush to like you with $20?
I don't. Can I borrow $20? It's really hard for me to picture. This whole time, I've kind of been, speaking out of my ass a little bit here. I'm not as experienced as you. I haven't gotten to the like acquire the $20. Like all the stuff I was saying about like asking someone to borrow $20 and maybe like stealing money from the bank or all that. That's all kind of hypothetical.
Oh, you've never?
I've never kind of done that kind of stuff before.
Wow. Okay. Huh. No, it just makes me really rethink tomorrow's whole brunch plans with our bank friends that we're casing, because like they definitely think you've held $20 before.
I mean, I've held 15. Like I'm not. It's not like I've never held anything.
Yeah. You said that you were going to show up. You were going to be there tonight too.
Yeah, for Scrabble.
And so I got I have some calls.
No, you're texting me now saying it's been canceled. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man. I wish we could.
Yeah.
But no, something came up during this record that so I got to go take care of that. But what that could have been. Anyway, so make sure you case your banks. Make sure you always offer your crush $20, and then try to reference their mom in a way that's like incredibly familiar. And I think that's really how you can do it, right?
I mean, I think so. Are you ready to put it to the test, Dr. London? Get out there.
I guess it's time. Okay. When I report back next week, you will have an answer on how well this worked. Okay? I'm really gonna find $20 to do this. Okay. Thank you so much to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Digital Down House.
Digital in the house.